So just so people understand, this is George Soros, a quote by him. I've made it my life's mission. He's said this many times too. To destroy the United States. I hate this country and I hate all of the people in it. George Soros, Newsweek, 1979. He said it other times too. He funds the Democratic Party. Hillary Clinton and him are tight. Yeah, many of the Democrats are. He also funds BLM. It's part of destroying America, which BLM did that during the summer of 2020 and definitely during then. They didn't care whose businesses they destroyed. They didn't care whose lives they hurt. They didn't care what police cars they put on fire or businesses because they're anarchists. Yet the whole nursing profession at the top seems to support that. They seem to support terrorist organizations that are funded by people like this that want to destroy democracy, destroy the republic, and destroy this country. How dare they? And this is going way back, but BLM has always made this their chant. They've changed it over time, of course. Horrible BLM chant, pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon, because of the police. That's what they were referring to. Pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon. I can't even say it. Pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon. Maybe our great police, who have been neutralized and scorned by a mayor who hates and disrespects them, won't let this symbol of hate be affixed to New York's greatest street. Spend this money fighting crime instead. 2020, Soros-affiliated anti-deportation group, part of defund police movement, all coordinated. And BLM does actually go back to the Palestinian group. They have a history. The complicated history behind BLM solidarity with the pro-Palestinian movement. Yeah. The anti-Jew movement. That's what it is. They can wrap it up all they want, that it's about black lives. They can wrap it up all they want, that it's about Palestinians, but they don't care about this is a simple, logical conclusion. When you don't care about babies being murdered in Israel, then don't carry on about how much you care about Palestinians. Don't carry on about how much you care about black lives when you destroyed their businesses, destroyed their homes, destroyed their cities with your summer of rage, okay? Because here's the thing, BLM. You look like effing hypocrites. So behind the connection of Black Lives Matter and the Palestinian movement, between the two movements is a complicated history of a fissure among early generations of African-American activists that helped form what Zellie Thomas, and that's some school board official or was a teacher, an organizer with Black Lives Matter, calls a black radical tradition. No. Again, these people don't support anybody. They support destruction. Destroy America. That is what BLM is all about. So I continue to ask myself, but have for years now, why the nursing profession, the hospitals, have not denounced and came out with a statement saying we are sorry. We are sorry that we backed this. We are sorry that we went along with a racist agenda. We are sorry that we stood with terrorists. We didn't know, or I think they knew, but I ultimately I think it all goes back to an anti-Jew agenda, and it's really and even more than it's just an anti-God. That's what it is. This is some of what has been said about the movement between BLM, and I love how they put in all their articles. Now, the BLM grassroots, they're not grassroots. They're funded by George Soros. That's why the top of Black Lives Matter live in, like, the most expensive mansions. Trace the money. For lasting peace to come, the entire apartheid system must be dismantled. That's what their goal is. BLM non-grassroots said, The war on the Palestinian people must cease. We call on the United States government to immediately stop funding war and redirect the $4 billion in annual spending to repair the damage caused by the U.S.-backed wars, military airstrikes, coups, and destabilizing interventions against oppressed people around the world. Who are you people to talk, you racist people? But again, you're not racist you're just racist at humanity. That's who you guys are all racist at. But of course they would want this, right? Because if we don't support Israel anymore, it makes it much easier for these terrorist organizations. Because you see how all the terrorist organizations, they stick together. Hamas, Hezbollah, BLM, Black Liberation, whatever movement it is. They all stick together. They all stick with the terrorists, okay? And then put their Marxist terrorist professors in the universities to then indoctrinate young people to then march against something, for something that they don't realize that what they're marching for is the destruction of an entire race of people. That's what BLM's all about. Yeah, they're no different than Hezbollah. They're no different. Have they not gone in with machine guns? Not yet. I'm sure they will at some point. I mean, just look up some of the videos of what they did in major cities in 2020. It was horrible. I mean, just constant terror on people. And for them to even act like that they have some, they demand that the government shouldn't even recognize this organization anymore. This organization is George Soros funded. They need to be arrested for all of the crimes of summer of 2020. But of course, they were all about defunding the police. And because in Chicago and many other Democrat-led cities, okay, the DAs are all owned by George Soros as well. Well, when they did get arrested, it didn't do any good. They just got right out. Yep, nothing ever happened to them. But yet, Washington wants to carry on about January 6th. I could care less about January 6th. Because this went on all summer long, putting people's lives in danger, and all because these democratic cities allowed these terrorist organizations to take over and run the damn cities, and they hurt the police. All because they use the George Floyd thing. They always do. They find something to use to push their anarchist agenda. And what they're working for, what those agitators are working for, is George Soros. Yes, that's why they live in $1 million homes. Obviously, this was before BLM has suddenly taken down their picture of their support for Israel, or not Israel, against Israel, supporting Hamas. Yeah, Black Lives Matter organization shows support for Hamas and amid terror attacks on Israel. This isn't the first time. When there was problems in the past, back in 2022, there was some issue with Israel, not like as big as it is right now, but with the terrorist organizations, and they came out, and so that's who they serve. I mean, that's what George Soros is all about. It's about destroying America. And we stand with Israel, which is why terrorist organizations that burned cities down all summer of 2020 were able to get away with that, because that's the kind of money George Soros has. When he owns the DAs and he owns the mayors, these Democrat mayors, and they do what he says because they get this money to do it, then that's what happens to your city. That's how they start to destroy your country. That's also how they get into your universities, these crazy people that want genocide, teaching your children. Is that what you want, teaching your kids? Like, the universities are not a safe space, clearly, because they are not even teaching the right history. Black Lives Matter just comes up with whatever damn history they want. They just create it and say, oh yeah, this wasn't true. Bullshit. These people terrorized whites, blacks, brown people. They destroyed cities, all during COVID in the summer. And yet our healthcare system, instead of saying, denouncing that, Northwestern wanted to bus employees to these riots, okay? So that there'd be more people there. Yeah, that's what the hospital systems did. Has there been an apology or a reckoning from them yet, or the Nursing Association? Nope, because it was all designed so they could bring their health equity racist agenda against